There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM. With even more exclusive content, with over 150 channels in your vehicle, including the widest, deepest variety of music, ad-free. Root for your team. Get news. Listen to whatever makes you laugh. And hear all about your favorite stars. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels filled with music and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video. Thousands of hours of shows and performances on demand. What you love is on now.
The Jeeps and trucks category has been on a constant rise, and dealers who have found success in it know exactly why. That's because the customer, who is the Jeep enthusiast, is savvy when it comes to customizing their vehicle. Tonight, we've got 6 prominent brands who specialize in Jeeps and trucks, and they're here to present and discuss all different things, such as application-specific kits, all the way to lighting solutions. This is CMA Live, presented by SiriusXM. The Jeeps and Trucks episode starts now. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in this evening to CMA Live, presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and I will be the first to admit that when I heard about this whole Jeep craze and this movement and this community, I was nowhere close to being as aware of what it actually entailed. You know, in recent studies, especially from CMA, released statistics showing that these Jeep owners, these Jeepers, are incredibly interested in customizing their vehicle in some kind of way. And when it comes to aftermarket audio as well as lighting, man, these are categories that have absolutely exploded. And the brands that we have on tonight have catered to that explosion and have come to market with unique products specific to this Jeep category, whether it be from a fitment perspective, an application perspective, or just a creative perspective. I think you're going to see tonight, if you're interested about Jeeps or you want to expand into offering the Jeep clientele what's hot right now in the market, this is the show you want to sit down and take notes on. All right, so without further ado, like I said, we've got 6 big brands going on tonight, and we're going to start with one of the biggest. One of the biggest, when I say, especially in the Jeep category, have kind of come out and said, hey, we are specialists in this field. We've come up with specific product catering to this market and these platforms, and that is, of course, Alpine Electronics. So I'd like to invite to the studio as our very first guest this evening, the product trainer for Alpine, Mr. Eric Brooks.
Hey, Ben, how you doing?
What's going on, sir? How are you tonight?
I'm doing great, man. Happy to be here with you.
Amazing, amazing. Listen, I wasn't kidding when I said, you know, Alpine, it was one of those that kind of took the flag and put it in the sand right away and said, hey, this is a market that we recognize. This is something that we're going to go hard on and develop stuff for. And, you know, I think that session that we did early on this week was amazing. I learned so much. And there was a lot of new products, which is super exciting. So I want to kind of give you that opportunity to talk about that, Eric. Alpine in Jeeps, obviously committed, but there's some new products I want you to tell us about.
Sure, Ben. So we're like on our 5th or 6th generation of Jeep-specific products. These are products that aren't developed to work in many different vehicles. They're specifically made for Jeep. We came out with 4 new source units, 2 7-inch models, one for JK and one for JL JT. And then we came out with 2 9-inch models, one for JK and one for JT, JL and JT. So the 7-inch models are fantastic. They have CarPlay, Android Auto capability. They have some sound tuning in them. Everything in the box you need. Maestro harnesses, everything in the box, right? So you program it up, you're ready to go. They're fantastic solutions, but really what is the biggest hit are our 9-inch solutions for the JK and the JL and the JT. So these are, again, vehicle specific, big features like wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, this Maestro compatibility in the box, weatherized, so the investment is protected. You can get caught with your top off without worrying about it getting wet. So there are a lot of things, a lot of features within these, like sound tuning capabilities that they have. Again, that weatherization is probably one of the biggest when you're spending that much money, but it's huge.
If I may, Eric, I just want to clarify that for those tuning in. When you think about a source unit, what do you mean by application specific? How can a source unit be application specific?
Okay, so we have universal product, right? So we have floating displays called the halos. We have double dens. We have single dens. They can go in any vehicle, right? Through different kits and harnesses and whatnot. These models are specifically made for Jeep. So you're not going to take them and get different kits or whatever. They are developed with bezels, with high quality tooling, fit and finish that are made for the Jeep. And that's the only place they're going to go.
Fair enough. And that's what you meant by application specific. Now, you started down the path mentioning some key features and benefits from these units, both in the 7 and the 9-inch. You did mention weatherized. That's a clutch right there. You mentioned Apple CarPlay and Android. That's what I heard. Keep telling us a few more features and benefits that make these units unique.
Don't forget wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. So those 9-inch units have wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. They have the Maestro in the box, so easy installation, all the harnessing there. They have 2 camera inputs with a dash camera input. We can actually control the dash cam, all of the setup and configuration of the dash cam, and view it live on the screen, front and rear cameras. So that's a huge feature for Jeepers too. They love to record their trails and their drives, so they can do that. They can play them back right on their screen, or take the SD card or link to Wi-Fi to their mobile device. So a lot of cool things there with that.
Very, very cool. I heard also, we covered it in that show, but I wanted to take this opportunity to touch on that. There's also a firmware update, which unlocks a couple cool features, which will be coming down the pipe.
Yeah, absolutely. So later this year, we're going to have a firmware update it's going to give us Alexa control. It's going to give us Sirius XM 360L, which is kind of a new format for Sirius XM that's coming down the road. So we'll have more information on that as we get closer. But it's also going to put Tidal as a source on the unit. So these are high resolution audio units. This will be an easy way to get high resolution audio into the device and be able to play it back through your sound system.
Very, very cool. So that covers 4 new units, both in the 7-inch and the 9-inch for all 3 platforms. Okay.
Yep.
That's not all. It doesn't stop there. There are other new products that Alpine just recently released for Jeeps, aren't there?
Yeah, sure. So we have a full sound system for the JL and the JT. So the Wrangler and the Gladiator. It replaces the front speakers with pods for 6.5s, all weatherized speakers for the front. Our premium JL, they're called SPV 65 JLTs. It's the soundbar speakers tuned for those soundbars. It's a 6.5 component with beautiful cosmetic. So those are in the kit. We also have an 8-inch powered subwoofer that goes under the seat with a 4-channel amplifier and all of the connections, the wiring, everything you need. T-harness for the head unit if you're sticking with the factory head unit. It has the T-harness with all the load resistors, everything you need right in the box.
All right. So a new sound system kit. I also heard there's 1 or 2 little cool devices that you can really add to the system to even enhance that Jeep experience even further.
That's right. We do have some cool accessories coming. So we have a battery powered Bluetooth volume control / subwoofer level control. So it's a small device that can mount pretty much anywhere in the vehicle. You turn the knob, you have quick access to your volume control. You push and turn the knob, and you can control your subwoofer output. So that's pretty cool. But for the Jeep community, really what the big thing is here is this, what we're calling Nav Stick. So it's a USB device that plugs into the USB of the head unit, and it gives us both on-road and off-road navigation. So you're going to be able to get breadcrumbs. You're going to get longitude, latitude. You're going to get many of the features that we had in our off-road head units with our off-road navigation. But it's really a great way for Jeepers to go out into the wilderness where there's no cell service and not worry about getting lost on a trail. They're 30, 40 miles in. They can follow the breadcrumbs to get back to where they need to be.
Yeah, you nailed it on the head. That's exactly what Jeepers are looking for, especially those that, are savvy to go off-road, which quite a few of them are. Yep. Let's switch gears a little bit, Eric. Let's get to understand kind of like the outset or the philosophy with Alpine when it comes to Jeeps. There's no question if you've been to a Jeep event, there is a following for Alpine. I don't think that's arguable. But what I'd like to hear is, you've been to the events, you've talked to the customers,
Sure.
and it's been a minute, right? This is not new. You've been doing this for quite some time. So
Yeah.
why do you think Alpine has the following that it does within the Jeep community?
Well, I think Alpine has some brand equity, right? I think that we know Jeep very well. We make some of the Jeep OEM systems, so I think customers recognize that. They recognize that we make products specifically for Jeep. We understand the vehicle. We're now on multiple generations of products, so we've been at this a long time, and we're very engaged with the Jeeper community, right? So we survey these customers at these events to figure out what we need to implement in our products to make it suit their needs. So they recognize that, they see it, and they're willing to pay, for a quality brand in there.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Last but not least, this wouldn't be CMA Live if I didn't squeeze you for a little bit of, expert advice. Dealers like me figuring out, holy cow, I'm starting to get more demand on this Jeep thing. There's more people coming in, but I'm not really equipped. I don't really know the market or what's available out there. Why would Alpine be a good fit to kind of start them off as a brand to help them, cater towards this Jeep community?
Sure. So there's a few reasons, right? So there's profitability. It's a very profitable product line for the Jeep specific products. It's very reliable, so the consumer can get a product that they know they're going to last for a long time. You have, everything for the Jeeps comes ready to plug and play. There's some programming with Maestro modules, but there's no cutting of wires. All the harnesses are in the boxes. So from a retailer point of view, if I get the right system for the right vehicle, all the work is done ahead of time. Now I just have to put the labor in to put it in.
Yeah, no, it really streamlines that process where they can
That's right.
get into the vehicle, play with the vehicle, have that experience with, everything that involves the wiring, the panels and all whatnot, and all those little intricacies that, as every vehicle has. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Eric, I want to thank you so much. I know our time is short, but that's the whole point of live. We kind of get this is like speed dating, right? I want to hear those 5 quick points, and I'll see if I want to date you after.
It was a great date, Ben. Thank you very much.
I appreciate that so much. Again, Alpine, that is Eric Brooks. He is their national product trainer. And if you're a Canadian distributor or dealer, rather, make sure you get a hold of their Canadian distributor, Gentech International. They handle all the Alpine sales for Canada. And if you're in the US, well, I'm sure you can contact Alpine directly, and they'll put you in contact with their closest distributor in your area. Thanks a lot, Eric.
Thanks, Ben.
Take care now. All right, so that is the Alpine take. Great selection, lots of new products. I do encourage you to go back and watch that connected session or showcase session that I did with Eric earlier on in the week. We really dive into everything he mentioned and more, and it's really exciting seeing so much new product in this category. Let's go to our next guest and feature brand. Of course, this feature brand is a big one, a huge following. I always say this, when JL Audio puts their mind, effort, and resources towards something, man, it is no joke. They go all in. They're one of those all-in poker players, right? It's all in. We have tonight with us their marketing director, Bryant Fisher, who knows a thing or two about Jeep Audio, and we'd love to get him on. So come on to the studio, Bryant. Let's talk about Jeep Audio and JL. What's going on, Bryant?
Hey, Ben. How are you doing, bud?
I'm fired up because this is a category that is exciting. It's got innovation behind it, and customers are wanting this product, and I feel like it's my job to get this information to dealers to say, hey, hello, what are you doing not serving this clientele, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So that's it. So JL, very strategic company. You guys have a lot of brain power, right? In that camp. I know it, like the engineers and all this stuff. So I'm going to ask you this first. First, to understand this business, you need to understand the Jeep customer. So what has JL learned about this Jeep customer before deploying, Operation JL Domination Jeeps?
Well, first off, we spent a bunch of time researching the category. So that was we're talking about events in the backstage before coming on, and Jeep Beach just wrapped up, EJS just wrapped up. We got a couple other events that are on the horizon going down the next couple of months into summer. But it's one of those few categories that has this cult following behind it, that, true enthusiasts, that they're having these gatherings, they're doing trail riding together. There's a whole community associated behind it. So they're not very accepting of like outsiders. So like when you go to the Jeep events, it is like strictly just Jeeps there. So they want something that's specific to their platform. They want something that is, tried, tested, and, going to be reliable for what they're going to do. They rely heavily on, other members kind of advocating for it and saying, yeah, this is a good product. And that's how you got to penetrate that one. So you got to be where they're at. You got to understand how they're using the vehicles, because it changes from geographic location from one to the next too. So, and so getting in, kind of figuring out who they are, what drives them, and then how they're using it. So, and in that discovery, we kind of figured out like where we can start placing products, because that's very key too. What other accessories that they're bolting onto that vehicle that might come into conflict where we're anticipating that we're going to place something. So it's not like a lot of other vehicles that, they may throw some wheels and tires and suspension on it. Like they're highly customizing these things all the way to like the full, off-road buggies that like start as a JK, but like now you can't recognize the vehicle anymore. Like, they're so customized at that point. So
absolutely.
But advice to, the retailers that are out there is, pick up a vehicle or find somebody that's local in your market. Use Facebook or something like that to go, hey, we want your vehicle to, put some products in, work with you to help advocate. The forums is another good avenue too, like creating some promotions and some specials and packages that you can offer exclusively to them. Like that's showing that you want to be part of their community. And then that goes a long way in this subset. So
very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the philosophy, obviously, I know you guys took the time to kind of figure out the mindset and how you're going to approach it. So now let's get into the product. Stealth Box.
Yep.
I think everybody knows what Stealth Box is. You guys came out with that years ago. It's been an incredible solution, a high-end solution to a lot of applications. No different in the Jeep market. So tell us why Stealth Box is such an amazing application solution for the Jeep and truck market.
It's one of the few, if not probably one of the only left in the market that is a fiberglass based vehicle specific enclosure. So, that gives you kind of that rigidity for base performance that some of the other enclosure materials that you can pick from are lacking. So it gives a performance attribute that, makes that bass response kind of very recognizable as being JL audio. And then couple that with our shallow mount woofer design. So whether it be TW3 or TW1, which most of these vehicles, because of the space constraints, we're leveraging that woofer technology coupled with our Stealth Box enclosure technology to provide a premium based solution. So there are some retailers out there too that maybe they're doing some wooden enclosure and stuff like that, but they're not like heavy into the fabrication side of things. So it gives them a solution that they go, hey, we can give you an awesome tried and true vehicle specific solution specific to your platform. So that's another advantage of Stealth Box. So
I mean, can I add one more?
Sure.
I'm going to add one more. The locations that you guys choose, like specifically the Jeep. I happen to have sat down with Rob Haynes. We went through the whole gambit, of all the applications. And dude, they like, I can't think of a better word than stealthy. I tried, but really I can't. It's stealthy. I mean, they are stealthily placed. I think it's is it the Gladiator? Anyways, one of them is like on the back trunk and there's a cover over, like you wouldn't even know it's there. I think it's only like 4 inches above the factory location on the back panel of the trunk. So, I mean, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right on it. So beyond the placement of the vehicle. So that's funny because that's part of kind of how we develop the product too. So we do test enclosures and we place them in there. So not only are they placed in a great location, but they're placed in a location that they're going to perform the best too. So we'll move that enclosure around the vehicle, figure out where the best base response is inside the vehicle, and then start looking at how we can integrate a sub solution into that location.
Yeah,
so
that makes a lot of sense.
Running through a couple of the applications, the JL, we offer a driver and passenger side. They sit up on top of the wheel hump. That's important because some of these Jeep markets, so like you come back into my neck of the woods in Arizona, overlanding is a trend, right? So, and if you're going to go overlanding, what do you have? A ton of stuff to be off the grid for a long time. So space is critical. So you're not going to want to give up that floor space. You're going to either doing like, a sliding rack that's got a cooler in it, or a cook setup in that, storage for recovery, you name it. Like it's getting
space is a premium. Space is a premium.
So that placement was ideal for that one. We kind of learned that on with our JK models. So we have a solution that's over the hump in that one. The one that you're talking about sits in, there's a little storage tray that's back there.
That's
so
right.
It takes care of that false floor. So another, creative way to integrate there. The JT, which is our newest stealth box model that we kind of released for this kind of category, it goes underneath the back seat. So it gives you a 210-inch subwoofer solution option, down firing, gives you awesome bass response in that little cab of a truck. So like most
out of the way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So it retains your factory jack location and those things too. So yeah, it's perfect.
Awesome. So we talked a lot about Stealth Box, made in USA. I want to mention that. I think that's a clutch point.
Yep.
And I love saying that because I think that's super cool and definitely worth the mention. But there are other accessories that JL offers within the Jeep space. What other accessories are there?
Yeah, so the Jeep platform specifically had us do a spin-off of Stealth Box, which we call the Stealth Box accessory portion. And what that is taking it beyond just a vehicle-specific sub-solution, but you also need to integrate other things in order to make a sub-play, right? You need an amplifier. So we came up with an amp rack that will either go under driver or passenger seat for the JL, JK, and also the JT. It's slightly different between the JK model and the JL model because of the seat locations. They bolt into factory locations, so you're not drilling any holes. You're not modifying the vehicle any way to get it in there. And it puts it in a nice, secure location where that thing's not rattling around. It's got a toe kick built into it. So when you're in the back seat, you're not kicking the amplifier or the wires or any of that other stuff. So it's not unobtrusive for passengers in the vehicle. The other thing that we did with that one too is kind of looks like Swiss cheese from the front side of it. So it's got all these variable mounting holes that are tapped into the metal plate, but that's purposely done so that you can integrate our XD line of amplifiers, our MX line of amplifiers, our VXI line of amplifiers. So it gives you a lot of variety for developing systems, right? So we're talking about packages and systems that, dealers need to be looking at like, hey, that's my go-to package for the JL model. And then beyond that one, we have a solution that goes underneath the hood that gives you a nice, secure, high mounting location for your fuse holder because you're going to do some water crossing in some of these vehicles.
Oh, that's
right?
why the high. I was wondering why you were emphasizing high.
Yep.
I get it.
Yep.
Okay.
So we wanted to put in a nice, secure, safe location for a variety of different driving styles. So
I find that very interesting that it's kind of like an offshoot of, committing to the stealth boxes for these applications. And now you're also doing accessories. I can kind of see that also growing, I'm sure, as more accessories come out. And it's nice that they're kind of future-proof. You can even swap out amps. If you want to upgrade your amp, same bracket still fits, so on and so forth. All right, before I let you go, I couldn't let you go if we didn't talk about the application of the ever-popular JL pods, because I've seen them show up. I've seen them on your demo vehicle. So talk to us about how JL pods are kind of popular also as an option within this space.
Sure. We have two varieties. So we have what we call a Vex pod, which is a smaller, I equate it to like the size of a grapefruit, right? So it's no deeper than it is the radius of the speaker that's mounted on the front one. So those are a great solution because it leaves all that headroom in that tighter back seat. So they can hang up there. They're compact. They're being integrated pretty regularly in the Jeep and off-road and overland community, because once you get to a destination, you hang out for a little bit, right? You open a cooler, you crack a cold one, talk with the friends, talk about, hey, what's our exit strategy getting out of here? What's the next location? So it gives you music when you're at stop too. So it adds another zone to a vehicle that you typically didn't have from a factory system, right? The other variety is our larger ETX enclosure, which is more commonly found on wakeboard boats and wakeboard towers, which actually in the Texas Panhandle area, that's a very popular solution because they like their sound big down there. So we have both varieties depending on your listening style, for sure.
I think the one I've seen the most, because I did some perusing around the forums and stuff like that, I've seen guys who are using these pods put the smaller ones inwards and the bigger ones backwards, like tailgate style.
Totally,
it's kind of like a popular configuration. I think we covered it, man. I mean, lots of great solutions. We covered Stealth Box. We covered different type of accessories like the fuse holder as well as the amp rack, and we covered Vex pods. And that's it for as far as JL and Jeep. If you want more information on JL, you know where to find them. If you're a dealer and you're looking to become a dealer in Canada, well, you want to get a hold of the good folks over at Gemsen. They are the exclusive dealer or distributor rather for JL Audio in Canada. And if you're in the US, I'm sure you get a hold of Bride's team and they will point you in the right direction. Thanks so much for taking the time, Bride.
I appreciate it, Ben.
I'll talk to you soon.
Good night.
Take care.
All right. Bye.
JL Audio Stealth Box. Really cool solution, especially if you don't want to get into the custom stuff and maybe you don't want to do a big kit. And maybe the guy's a JL fan. Great. Let them know. No problem. They can set you up, on your Jeep platform. We're going to shift a little bit. I mentioned at the top of the show, obviously audio is a big part of the aftermarket when it comes to Jeepers, but lighting, make no mistake, is a huge part of the accessory collage or catalog that these Jeepers go to. Let's put it this way. I've never seen a Jeep that started customizing and stopped with just changing light bulbs. That just doesn't happen. There's a lot going on there. Our next guest represents a brand out of Toronto called Lumens HPL, distributed in Canada by Importel. Their owner, Chris Chang, is a pretty smart dude, and he loves the products that he's developed for Jeep and truck market, and I'd like to hear all about it. Let's go ahead and invite Chris to the studio. What's going on, Chris?
Not much. Thank you for having us.
Oh, we're super excited to have you. In fact, we're on tomorrow as well, where we're going to go really deep. But tonight, I wanted to kind of just graze on a couple of the key topics I know we're going to be discussing tomorrow, because you've got a pretty interesting lineup, especially for these guys that are building Jeeps and trucks. So how many different products do you actually currently offer right now for that market, Chris?
I think there's at least 200-300 SKUs alone, but a lot of them are maybe in different colors and so forth. But we basically cover all the different lighting aspects, regardless if it's just a replacement for some bulbs, also upgrades for those same bulbs. And we go anywhere from forward lighting, so your headlights or fog lights and so forth, interior lighting, relay flashers for LED bulbs, factory HID replacements, HID upgrades, light bars.
I don't know how you're remembering all this stuff. There's so many categories, but
I'm
yeah.
just looking at the picture behind me.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, absolutely. There's a whole bunch, and we actually break it all out. So I do encourage everybody to tune in tomorrow. We're really going to break it all out category by category. Can we start with one that I know is kind of popular, and that I find that what you have to offer, or not what you offer, not only what you offer, but your kind of philosophy behind it, kind of interesting. We're talking about rock lights or pod lights, let's call it, right? What is the Lumens approach to this category of light that kind of started in the wheel well and it's kind of expanded, hasn't it?
It has, and that's where we got the initial idea from. We saw these little rock lights that people are using in the tire wells, and then we figured out, this would be more than useful in just tire wells. We can use them interior, exterior, anywhere we need some additional lighting, regardless if it's some accent lighting or maybe actual full-blown lighting, because they can be quite powerful. And we kind of redeveloped the concept, improved on all the issues we saw in the market, and made it to something like super durable, super rugged, yet still gives you like a really good light source per se.
Yeah, absolutely. And more on that when you tune in. We actually go really in depth to see what makes the Lumens pod light a little bit different from what you may have seen before. Now there are two, you talked about light bars. Now we don't have time to go into every light bar, Chris. So I want to kind of narrow down the breakout. If they're thinking about light bars, they're thinking about Lumens. There's really two series, right? That you've kind of put forward. What are the differences between them, and what is the purpose behind having these two series?
So last year we introduced two new single row light bar lines. One is the comp line, one is the prime line. And the comp line is basically your typical off-road lighting that you would use that lights everywhere off-road. Not very useful on-road because at that point in time you're blinding everyone and so forth. So we decided to take the concept and actually focus the light properly for more of a driving pattern. So basically where a driver is expecting to see lights normally when they're driving a car or a pickup truck and whatnot, and have all the intensity focused into that area to provide even more light, and also, I would say, non-wasted light in areas where you wouldn't be using it. And that's basically where we kind of took those two lines and kind of split them up, because some people do want light shooting up at the sky and everywhere else in front of their vehicle, but other people do want it more focused straight ahead of them, still a somewhat wide beam pattern, but straight ahead of them, because they're not looking up as they're driving or looking straight at the ground and so forth.
Yeah, so what I find interesting about that is that you do provide both. And you're absolutely right. There are different applications. I guess it depends on what you want and where you live, perhaps. And some of them are for truly off-road applications, and others just need a little bit more lighting because they live in a very dark area and just need to shine the road a lot more, me included. So I totally understand where you're coming from. Let's talk about the sealed beam replacement options. That's kind of a popular deal, right, amongst Jeepers, because they're sealed beams. Yeah, you could change the light bulb, but you also have other options for them as well.
Yep. So originally they're obviously designed specifically for sealed beams, because sealed beams are even less bright than a typical halogen bulb, and people are already complaining about the brightness of halogen bulbs. So there was obviously a market for that, and these units have the LEDs built right into them, so it's still a quote-unquote sealed beam unit. But now we're able to take the light source, which is the LED chip, and focus it properly within the housing to create that perfect beam pattern that you need for driving, versus our typical LED upgrade bulbs that we put into the halogen housings. They still produce a nice pattern, but it's nowhere as close to like a full-blown unit designed specifically to put that light out.
Right. So just to clarify, there's always going to be an improvement when you upgrade to an LED bulb, but you're putting it into an environment that it wasn't necessarily designed for, right? That's just the truth. Whereas what you're saying is that these sealed beams are complete units that were designed from the ground up to work together to optimize the beam and the spread of the LED light. Did I get that right?
Exactly. Yep.
It's as if I listen to you sometimes, Chris. Okay. I gotta ask you a little bit of advice. You've been doing this, you've been in the game for quite some time. Our Canadian climate, you're up there yourself, and it's the market for lights for dealers have really changed over the years as far as the offering. Right, there's been so much more development recently. So, what advice do you have for dealers that are looking to find the right lighting partner as a supplier for this Jeeps category?
Well, I believe most dealers are looking for reliability. Like you said, not all environments are equal. If you're in Mexico and it's warm 365 days of the year versus up here in Canada where we're freezing cold and so forth in the winter, the products have to be designed differently. A product that works well down there isn't always going to work well up here because of all the temperature variances. And because we are located in Canada, we obviously take all those factors into consideration. And, you're looking for a product that's going to last. You're looking for a product that will actually work. That it's not all just the marketing and all that behind it. We truly offer an upgrade. When you pay the dollars for it as a consumer, you will get better lighting ultimately.
Very well said. Chris, I can't thank you enough. I'm excited for everybody to see that show that we're going to put on tomorrow. I encourage you to tune in. If you're in Canada and you're looking for some Lumens HPL product, make sure you hit up the distributor, Importel. And if not, check it out, Lumens HPL on the line. That's where you're going to find Chris and his team. Thank you so much for coming in today, Chris. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Take care now. That was fun. Little shift. Some lighting options because Jeep guys love lighting. But for now, we're going to circle right back to audio. Well, it's not car audio. It's Jeep audio. Jeepers, don't hate me. I meant Jeep audio. That's really what I meant to say. This brand has been in the game for so long. Oh my God, brings me memories every time I see the logo. We're happy to have them today with us. They've kind of transitioned and grown up and evolved into many different things. And their marketing and creative director is here with us today. He's going to tell us all about that. From MB Court, Mr. Rob Anderson.
Hey, Ben. How's it going, man?
Dude, MB Court, man. It's just one of those brands, that logo, iconic, brings me back. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I mean, like it was talked about early in the show, all these events, we go out. We were just at Jeep Beach this past weekend, and man, just hearing people come in and being like, "Oh man, I used to run your stuff back in the day," and it's like, well, we're here in the Jeep market. Let's get down to business, baby.
Right. Well, we're about to get down to business. I got some questions for you. I know you're pretty pumped to answer them. I'm pumped to hear them. So let's start from the top. MB Corp,
Sure.
Jeep category. What is the approach? What's the story here?
Well, obviously, just like you mentioned, we are veterans in the mobile audio space, right? We're synonymous with our sound quality that we bring to the table, especially in our speaker technology. But then for the last decade, we've been kind of developing this thing with the UTV market, right? Where it's vehicle specific kits and off-roading, extreme elements. Well, why not take that veteran sound quality that we have with mobile audio and pair it with this UTV audio with Jeeps? That's just the perfect next step, right? So we're bringing the sound quality and the rugged and elements preparedness, and we're bringing that to the market with our MB Corp Jeep tuned audio kits.
Jeep tuned audio kits. That's what I want to get into right now. You've heard other presenters. We've got some great brands here tonight. I want to hear from you. What are some of the features and benefits that make your MB Corp Jeep kits an incredible solution? Because there seems to be a following about it. Guys are excited about it. Shops are excited about it. Now tell us why.
Absolutely. So a couple key features of our kits is we have the Stage 6 audio kit. So what does Stage 6 means? It means we're going to be putting 6 speakers into your JL and JT Jeep platforms. So right off the bat with the front speaker setup on our Stage 6 kit, we're running a 3-way speaker setup. So we're using a 6.5-inch mid bass right in the front dash panel. And then we're upgrading that 3.5-inch stock speaker, and we're actually putting a coaxial speaker up there. So it's a true 3-way system, and that you could get some full range sound. You know, something that we keep hearing is that these Jeepers, when they start, you know, especially in the warmer climates or in the warmer months up in Canada, when you're taking off the doors, popping off the top, you know, they want to hear their audio while they're enjoying the elements. So we had to give a nice speaker with full range sound, but that can also perform with wind noise, engine noise, even road noise if you lift your Jeep with like aggressive tires, right? So that's a front speaker setup. But we have a big thing in the rear soundbar setup where we're probably one of the only few companies that actually upgraded up to a 6x9 in the soundbar setup. So we're utilizing in the whole kit our MB Corp premium line of speakers. So, I mean, you know, things that you would obviously expect out of MB Corp. So tweeter technology. So we're using our wide sphere tweeter technology with a magnesium dome 1-inch tweeter in the rear soundbar and a full 6x9 mica cone that is just, it sounds amazing. Full range sound, and, you know, upgrading it from the, what is it, the 4-inch, I think.
I was just going to say, factory. What is it? Isn't it a 4 from factory? Yeah.
A significant upgrade size, right?
Absolutely. It's like you tripled up on the surface area there just with that one maneuver.
Exactly.
So help me understand something, because, you know, you've heard the guys say it, but there's a big DIY market as well, right? I mean, shops are great, but, you know, there is let's just call what it is. There's a big DIY portion to Jeepers. So how does, you know, I mean, I'm going to ask, that must have been included when it came to the design development of these kits from an install perspective.
Absolutely. So everything in our Stage 6 kits and even on our JT subkit options, everything is plug and play. So anyone from, you know, an experienced shop that wants to be able to run an effective install and you know, you really push this to market with Jeep owners and really become, you know, this is the go-to shop for getting your Jeep, your JL, your JT upgraded. So if you get that demand, you want to run effective and efficiently. So having everything in the box, cut to length, no cutting, no splicing, plug and play, true plug and play. That's one of the things that shops also like, but also these Jeep do-it-yourselfers, right? You know, part of becoming a Jeeper is almost like the rite of passage. You need to work on your own Jeep too as well. Like, so, and the way that we design the kits is perfect for both the shop option and the do-it-yourselfer.
Fair enough. So you keep mentioning kit. So my curiosity has been, are these components, let's call them, also available independently, separately?
Absolutely. So, you know, our Stage 6 kits would include everything, right? 6 speaker setup, NA2 amplifiers. So we give two 400 watt 2-channel amplifiers to power the speakers. And then if you do the JT sub upgrade kit, that's an additional 400.1 monoblock amplifier, right? But all of these solutions are a la carte, so anything from empty enclosures. So if you're a shop and you want to kind of mix match a system, you have someone that wants more of an entry level system, or if you want to go full high audiophile sound system, like with our premium line, or even some unreleased products that we're going to release in the fall that we're super excited about.
Hashtag make sure you tune in to MB Court on the next session. We might have
this Monday. Yeah, we'll give maybe some sneak peeks. That's some exciting stuff happening this fall. But we have unloaded product, right? So unloaded enclosures, but then also the individual audio components themselves. So the 6x9 kit with OEM replacement grills. So when you put our system in the vehicle, it looks perfect, OEM quality. So it's nice and subtle, but the upgrade that's underneath it is super significant.
Slick but significant.
Yeah, exactly.
Significant. Here's a good question for you. I'm going to try to throw you a curveball.
Okay.
Integration. What are your systems only set up for? Like, I have to change my source unit as well, or can I just go ahead and use my original? Like, what are the options here when it comes to integrating your system into a Jeep?
Ben, that's a fantastic question. So, right, we have these JT Jeep customers, and they spend a lot of money on these vehicles. They're great vehicles. They have some awesome options coming out of the factory, like the source units, right? These factory source units. So in a couple of our options in our stage kits, the Stage 6A, we include the Amped Pro integration plug and play interface. So we could still utilize that OEM source unit, but it's a plug and play option. So you don't have to mess around splicing and cutting into a main harness. And nowadays, how the ECU is integrated into that, shops and do-it-yourselfers don't want to mess around with that stuff, right?
I don't know any shop that wants to mess around with that stuff, to be honest with you.
100%, right? The headaches, I can hear them now. But in our kits, we simplify that. It's a plug and play kit. So anyone from an OEM source unit, we have an option where it's a plug and play, but then also say you have your own aftermarket head unit. Well, there's a Stage 6 kit for that as well. Say you just want a speaker upgrade kit. We have that solution as well. Basically, kind of any kit option for any type of audio listener and audio customer, we have something for them.
And that's the Emperor from Pack that you're talking about. It's included in the kit.
You got it. Yep.
I got Jeff Smith in the background. He's probably happy about hearing that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, hey, it's a great unit, right? And we want it to be a hassle-free, simple solution for either shops, do-it-yourselfers that's reliable, right? And so integrating that source unit is absolutely something we wanted to focus on. And our engineering team worked together in collaboration with them. So awesome. It's a perfect.
Well, I'll tell you, Rob, you've certainly brought a lot of interesting points and strong points at that to the conversation this evening. So in your opinion, what makes MB Quart such a favorite? I mean, you've talked about a couple things, right? Integration, a la carte. In your opinion, though, you've been in the game for a bit. You just came back from the event. What are you hearing? Why the enthusiasm behind MB Quart in the Jeep space?
Well, the big thing is that people want to go drive their Jeeps and enjoy their audio, and for it to sound good as well, right? One of the big things is we had Brian Sherman, our VP, he was out there with his personal JL Wrangler, right? So one of the big things is we're not just a company that's going into a space that's saying, hey, we're going to try to get integrated in this community. We're a part of the community. We go out to these events. We do personal rides. We go, Brian's out overlanding all across Florida for next week when I meet up with him in Panama City for Jeep Jam. It's a true community that we're a part of. So we see that kind of, organic thing that you kind of can't fake, right? When you talk to a customer, we understand what they want and they need. And so when they come to hear our audio systems, or if they buy our audio systems, they realize right away that it's something that's going to be integrated well into their Jeep. It's going to look high quality, sound high quality, and it's going to be a good value for them too. It's value priced. So,
and I think they're going to see right away, there's some Jeep minded people that were behind this. I think that's kind of clutch.
Absolutely. It's we feel warm and welcome now. It's a year and a half since I think we've released these kits, and the response has been nothing but amazing from the community. But tune in Monday for our Connected, and we're going to have some new products that are going to be in the Jeep category that you absolutely want to tune in and hear about.
It's going to be a new, nobody's heard of this yet, so you better tune in to find out. No spoilers.
Yep, that's right. No spoilers right now. We'll leave that for Monday.
Awesome, buddy. That's Rob Anderson from MB Court. If you're in Canada and you're looking for some MB Court goodies, make sure you get a hold of Automobility. They are the distributor for MB Court in Canada. And if you're in the US, get a hold of Maxonics. They will hook you up. Thanks a lot, Rob.
Ben, thank you. Have a great night, man.
Take care, dude.
Bye-bye.
All right, we're shifting gears again. We're going from audio to lighting, lighting to audio. We're going back to lighting, and we're going to a heavyweight up in Illinois. These guys travel the circuit. They're out there. They make lights for everything that moves that has a motor, literally. I don't care if it's a boat, a golf cart, or anything else. These guys have got you covered. Did a great session with them today. We were really lucky to have their president with us, Mr. Steve Jurgensen from Race Sport Lighting, and he's on with us tonight. This guy is a hard worker. I don't even think he's left the office. Let's go to Illinois and find out what's going on with Steve Jurgensen from Race Sport Lighting. What's going on? You're still at the office, aren't you?
I'm still at the office. I told you, yeah.
I said it was okay to go home. You could relax. But here you are.
No, I'm happy to be here and happy to be able to spend some time with your CMA dealers and answer some questions. Definitely.
Well, we're talking about Jeeps, and as we highlighted this morning in our Connected show, you guys got a lot going on with Jeeps. So for tonight, I kind of want to reflect on what we already learned today, but really give the people maybe some more insight as to race sport lighting and Jeep. So first and foremost, tell the people when it comes to Jeeps, how serious is race sport lighting when it comes to Jeep lighting?
Absolutely. Yeah, actually, we have been in the Jeep sector for 10 plus years, focusing on Jeep lighting. We actually have a Jeep factory that's 45 minutes from here. We have 12 Jeep outfitters within an hour, either direction of us, that focus on Jeeps alone. And so it's been over 10 years that we've been developing lights specifically for the Jeep. Matter of fact, if anyone watching this episode has been down to CMA in the North Hall, they've always seen a Jeep totally outfitted with our lights in our booth. And we usually continue to do that. It's the #1 most accessorized vehicle in North America.
Can I just highlight that? I'm happy
Absolutely.
You said that, Steve. Say that again, please.
It is the #1 most accessorized vehicle in North America, according to CMA data.
Dealers, if you can't connect the dots on that statement, I don't know what else I can do from CMA. I don't know what else Steve can do. It is the most accessorized vehicle. Hello, let's just stop there. Okay, let's talk about headlights. Headlights is a big category. It's one of the first things people change on Jeeps. Help me understand the different types of headlight options that you offer Jeepers.
Absolutely. I mean, first of all, I definitely encourage any dealers that are on here that did not check out the live episode earlier to watch that replay tonight. It was good. It was really good earlier. I didn't even know how good it was until afterwards. I started getting people in the industry that were asking if we're hiring. So
wow. Imagine
I was
that.
like, wow, it was really that good.
They better send me some.
Yeah, I mean, really, Ignacio was supposed to do this, but he's at a trade show right now, so I'm just a fill-in guy.
Yeah,
but anyways, let's talk headlights. So we got a couple different options we talked about earlier. #1, we talk about our sealed beam headlight upgrade category, in which we have 12 different models for the Jeep. Some of them are just blacked out units. Some of them are chrome. Some of them have some different design features to them. Some of them just have a low and high beam that focus on performance. Some of them are integrated with DRLs, turn signals, halos. And so there's a whole family of products for the headlights. One of the other categories we talked about earlier, though, is actually just headlight upgrades. Sometimes a consumer doesn't actually want to remove his OEM lens. He just wants to take the halogen out, which is usually insufficient, and he wants to upgrade it. And so, typically we have lines within our HID or LED headlight bulb lineups. Usually the ones I promote the most are our lifetime warranty Gen 6, which is a bulletproof high performance HID kit if they want to go the HID route.
I want you to make sure you don't miss the patents on the light bulbs that you do have, because I find
absolutely. Actually, I still got our 4 patented Gen 4 LED kit here, sitting on the desk that actually has a 360 ratchetable base design for aiming, and it has the Medusa style heat sinks that can flex in any way behind any lens. You know, you can use those in any vehicle, but definitely the H4 and the H13 that get put into the Jeep models is a really nice upgrade that we have multiple patents on that product. It's an extremely high performance upgrade kit if they're going to stick with their stock lens. In addition, especially if they're trying to put a 7-inch into the new JLs and the Gladiators, we do make 9-inch sealed beam replacements for those, but sometimes we get customers out in the field that want to put their 7-inch model in there, and so we make both a couple different brackets to make that flush mount happen. And then a couple key features we talk about when we talk about putting the headlights in. We make sure everything's packaged in there. There's usually an H4 or an H13 adapter connector, depending on which Jeep they're putting it into. Also included CAN bus decoders in every headlight kit to make sure that they can interface with the Mopar CAN bus systems.
Pretty much thought of everything, haven't you, Steve?
It's all in the kit.
It's all in the kit.
Yeah.
Let's shift from headlights to another big category for Jeepers. Obviously, continuing lighting, we're talking about auxiliary and signal light upgrade options.
All right, excellent. So we covered this a little bit in the deep dive episode earlier, so definitely watch that. But yeah, we make replacement upgrades for the marker lights, for the turn signals. We showed several different models today of the tail lights for both JK and the JL and Gladiator. We showed some smoke versions, some non-smoke versions. So we also showed right at the end the 5th wheel light add-on, which you pretty much don't see a Jeep on the road that doesn't like to add that add-on in, and where you can actually remove that 5th wheel and actually put our adapter plate on, and that has recessed diode system in it. It makes a nice round 5th brake light. And we even have a feature that has a separate diode system that actually has show lights. And so you can still have RGB multicolor and have it chase and do everything as your Jeep's sitting there and running in show mode.
Yeah, it's, you know, as we continue down this path and as I'm listening to you go, you know, I truly feel that most shops don't even realize the type of gear that's available. And this is why this is so important to make them watch the stuff and that they learn and they say, well, you know what? I do have a rising popularity in Jeep customers. I should bring in more stuff and show them what else is available, right? So,
absolutely.
One of the coolest things I want you to cover today is the switch and the switch panel. So I know it's like, okay, maybe it's not lighting, but they are uber cool, and I want you to talk about them.
Absolutely. I'll do a little show and tell here real quick that we talked about earlier. This is just one of several pieces we talked to that actually mounts up under the your rear view mirror. So that piece comes with a whole brain that mounts into your engine compartment with some very heavy duty wiring harness that we talked a little bit more about earlier. But that's great. I mean, when you're adding all these lights, you want to add separate zones, separate controls. People don't always want all the lights on. Sometimes they want them in the front. Sometimes they want them in the back. Sometimes they're just running accent lighting. Sometimes they just run low power lighting. Sometimes they need the high power lighting. And so obviously you're not running these all off one switch. You need switching systems. So that is just one piece that we showed earlier. We sell 50 different logo rocker switches to replace.
Sometimes they need zombie lighting, Steve.
Exactly. We talked a little bit about zombie lighting earlier. Somebody wanted a zombie lighting package of switches. So.
And you know what? That's another one that you kind of have to have on display and let people push and touch. When they see that, they're like, "Yeah, this is what I need in my whip." You know what I'm saying? Last but not least, this final question: help me break down all the types of exterior lighting options that are available also to Jeeps.
Oh man, this is huge. But for the sake of time, I'll try and break it down. This covers a couple different categories in our Jeep specific catalog. Again, watch that episode. We actually deep dive through just our Jeep specific catalog, our lighting guide. But we could put wheel lights on and add these on to the wheel system. Of course, we talked about the rock light systems. We talked about RGB. We talked about RGB plus W. We talked about multiple chain systems of those. We talked about underbody kits, interior kits, and then we kind of ended talking about a little bit about our lineup with whip lights. Obviously, those become really important on certain trails. Some specific trails actually require you to have whips, whether you're taking your ATV or Jeep or Tundra off-roading. You got to have whips on there, and even some parks that we know of actually have where you got to have lighted whips when you're going over the hills and trails. You got to be seen, and so we have a variety of different lineup of 3, 5, and 6 foot lighted whips, and those come in solid colors, RGB. You can control them with remote control. You can control them with our Bluetooth app. Lots of different options there. It goes on. We also talked about all of our light bar specific kits. We didn't talk about just light bars. We talked about the actual kits that have the bar, the vehicle specific bracket for different locations on the Jeep, the bar that goes with it, the harness, the hardware. I showed you one of the Made in USA brackets that we make right here, right behind our building in a fabrication shop. This goes on the JL, and this is actually the pillar bracket, and it holds multiple auxiliary lights on there. And in that kit, I showed you that we had different knockouts, spacer systems that come in the kit to keep the bracket off of the paint of the vehicle, and make sure that install looks really clean, that there's no damage to the vehicle while you're installing the light systems on. So we can go on and on about this, but lots of exterior and accent options to add to the Jeep.
Steve, listen, I want to summarize this quickly. First, if you're in Canada, and this is kind of new in Canada through their new distributor, Trends Electronics, get a hold of the team at Trends. They got some race sport in stock and ready to set you up as a dealer. Number 2, check out the website, racesportlighting.ca for Canadian customers. You can find them on Google, Facebook, you name it. Tons of display options. That brochure, you wouldn't have to have that handy, would you? The brochure? By chance?
I do have the brochure. So we have our full-on catalog with the Jeep section. We have our Jeep-specific catalog, and then we sent these up to Trends. These are just a simple Jeep trifold brochure that dealers can order some Jeep product from Trends, and they can ask for a stack of Jeep trifolds, and it's just a quick guide that they can put their label on here and have the customer call them back and set up an installation.
Awesome. Good stuff. Steve, I think you can go home now, buddy. I appreciate your time, but I'm
gonna go home and eat dinner.
I think you put in the effort, man. I appreciate it so much. Thanks for coming on. We'll see you on the next one.
Great. Thanks, Ben.
Take care. That was the president of Race Sport Lighting, Steve Jurgensen, joining us this evening, talking about the ridiculous amount of different options you have for accessorizing the lighting on your Jeep. Last but not least, we are on the final stretch, but I saved a good one for the end. We talked about audio brands. We've talked about lighting brands. This one's a little bit different because not only do they have products in both categories, but they also integrate and provide stuff that helps you, the shop, get gear into these Jeeps. Let me get him on board so he can tell us all about it. Again, I'd like to welcome back Jeff Smith, who, of course, represents AMP Global and is their director of training and events. I got it right that time, Jeff. Be proud of me.
There you go, Ben.
I see you're traveling, no less. Of course, you're in a hotel room, and I do appreciate you taking the time to spend with us this evening.
No worries, man. Anytime you want me on, I'll figure out a way to make it happen.
All right, so we are into Jeeps. We've had some great guests on today. We've covered all different kinds of things, and I kind of strategically put you at the end because you provide products in multiple different categories, not just one. So I'm going to pick one to start with because there's a couple of new things that, we're going to cover. We have our session going on Friday. We're going to go deep dive. So everybody watch that. But out of the gate, we have to talk about these new speaker pods that I've heard some news from. I think you kind of let the cat out of the bag at the last K-Fest. Tell me about the new speaker pods for Jeep.
Yeah, so one of the biggest upgrades, of course, is audio upgrades, and a lot of Jeep customers want to have. So we've looked at the current offerings that are out there. And we at AMP, Ben, we always try to think about not being first to market. We always want to be best to market. So we try to develop products that give customers and installers a little bit different point of view and installation capability. So the new, they're all branded under Stinger, the new SP, STX, JL pods. So this is going to be the new pod that mounts in the dash for the lower 6.5-inch mid-range to replace that factory 4-inch ported enclosure. But it's also going to come with the adapter for the dash as well. So this is going to reduce the amount of time a shop will have to take to not only modify to fit whatever enclosure into the dash, but also the amount of time it would take to route out, cut out, laser out, whatever the top adapter for either a tweeter or mid-range, whatever you like to have to go up on a dash. So we're going to make it all one complete kit. That's the STX JL pod for the front of the Jeep JL and Gladiators.
So you mentioned front specifically. Is that because there's also a rear?
There you go. See, you're paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
That for the rear soundbar feature, we thought about it. And we looked like everyone knows, we look to see what everyone else is doing. So we thought about it. Like that little 4-inch overhead is not enough output for most people. So we decided to come out with the rear soundbar adapter. It's the STX JL SBA, and it's going to be available soon, same time with the pods. And it is an adapter that allows you to cut out the factory soundbar and install in 2 different inserts, and it comes with both inserts. You can install in a 6.5-inch driver. You can install in a 6x9 driver.
Oh,
And you can also install in a 6.5 component kit.
wait, that's
which
3 different
really-
options.
But it's 2 plates. So the 6.5
Okay.
plate is there and it's pre-scored for the tweeter. So you can just mount in a 6.5, or you can do a 6.5 component. Then the secondary plate is a 6x9 plate that you can mount back in. And we also lowered down the OEM bracket, grill, and retooled a new grill to look just like OEM. And it's 3/8 of an inch lower. So that way you can put in a 6x9 that's 2-way or 3-way with the bridge and still be able to clear in that rear soundbar, giving you as much sound as you want at that point in time.
And as many options of 6x9 speakers as you want.
Exactly. So you can get really creative with the bracketry. That's one of the things that we kind of, like you said earlier, we specialize in, is the integration part of it. So we want to make sure that customers and dealers have the ability to put in whatever speaker combination they'd like to have.
You said the key word there, Jeff, integration, because I heard there's also some offering when it comes to amp kits or amp racks and wiring kits. Did I get that right?
Yeah, there you go. We are engineering and should be out, depending on how things go. We have 2 different amp rack kits that are going to be available for JL and JK. They only fit the JKU, so it's a JKU and JKL. So JLU, the 4-door versions, because the way the floor is in both of those Jeeps, we built the racks to fit those versus the 2-door that's not the same amount of room. So 14 gauge steel, powder coated, pre-tapped for a lot of our popular amplifier choices to go into these amp racks. So that way you don't have to worry about a lot of drilling and tapping yourselves. But it's going to hold the amp rack, the amps under the seats into the factory bolt locations and give you the ability to mount in multiple different amplifiers. Not only are they pre-tapped for some of our most popular amplifiers from our brands, but also it's a universal capability. So you can put any brand of amplifier on these amp racks. And I think we have a showcase coming up on Friday, and we're going to show some pictures of those and what they look like installed.
Sweet. What about
There's
the wiring
also
kits?
Power kits.
Right, the power kits.
So there's going to be Jeep specific power kits. They're going to come with a fuse holder under the hood, the XF FDB108 fuse holder. You can do single fuse or dual fuse, depending on if you do 1 amp rack or 2 amplifiers. Stinger, full copper wire kits that are cut, Tech Flex heat shrunk specifically to the length of wire.
I was just going to ask, the length is already predetermined?
Length is already cut specifically to under the seats, ground terminals, everything you need. I mean, Jeeps are going to become pretty easy upgrades, the way that all us manufacturers are making, these Jeeps, because someone said earlier, the Jeep is the #1 accessorized vehicle right now, right? So we want to make sure that we give all of our consumers and our dealers the most amount of opportunity to maximize Jeep customers when they come in their doors.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. Let's see. Talk to us about some top sellers, man. I know there's a big catalog, but the dealers tonight, they've had a really nice selection of different things to choose from. When it comes to amp, what are some clutch SKUs that you would recommend?
Hands down, clutch SKUs for us are going to be our high 10 multimedia infotainment unit combined with our PAC Radio Pro Advanced kit, When you combine those two for Jeep environment, you're going to go from either a 4-inch, 5-inch, or 8-inch factory screen to our 10-inch touchscreen that integrates into the data bus through our pack modules. It's going to give you all of that vehicle information, your off-road menus, the only kit that allows you to get the full HD factory camera resolution back into an HD screen. Steering wheel control integration, factory amplifier integration. I mean, whatever you want. The high 10 combined with the pack dash kit is probably our number one selling piece for Jeeps. Beyond that, it's going to be our upgraded mirror system, the MRC HD DVR JW, because it comes with the bracket for the Jeep Wrangler to mount back into the factory location in order for you to have a front and rear facing camera, high res, full HD 1080p that records to the DVR built into the mirror.
Built into the mirror. That's right. Yep. Very, very cool. Lighting. Let's switch to lighting, man. You know, you can play in that game too. Stinger's got some things in lighting. So let's hear it. What you got for lighting?
Yeah, we play in more the accessory lighting. We're not trying to step in Lumen's territory, not trying to step in Race Sport, because those dudes, they own the vehicle lighting market themselves. But we do more of the fun lighting. We do all the RGB lighting, internal lighting, external lighting with our SPX RGB underbody kits. So we have the 4-piece kit, and we have an 8-piece kit that are all Cree-style LEDs, 3 LEDs per pod. You know, you can mount them in the wheel wells. Most people do that. You can do, you know, the 4-piece kit and the 8-piece kit, and they're all controlled by a single app. So you can actually have multiple kits together and control as many LED pods as you want. Super rugged, extension cables, Bluetooth controlled from the application. Those lights are amazing. We also have some really functional lights. We have the whip lights, and the whip lights, a lot of people see them and then go, I never thought about what the whip lights are for. And I'm like, you remember back in the early 80s when people had, you know, 4-wheelers and 3-wheelers be off in the dunes and stuff like that. Everyone have the big whip with the orange flag at the top. That's exactly what the whips are for. And we include a Stinger flag on it as well. So if you just happen to be in your Jeep, ATV truck, whatever, out in the woods, out in whatever else you're doing, you have that flag on, you have your LED on. If somebody needs to spot you, lost out somewhere on a trail or whatever else, it's an easy way for them to find you. And the fact that you have the color changing and pattern changing LEDs from our dynamic LED system in this completely waterproof, weatherproof covering over the actual whip itself, and it's fully flexible and it's easily removable with the quick latching system that you just pull up on and it comes right off the vehicle without a problem.
I don't know. I think we had different childhoods. You talk about sand dune buggies and stuff. I had a banana seat bicycle.
On TV or whatever
I had a banana seat bicycle with a flag off the back with some cut ribbon. So I don't know about where you're from. Anyhow, last but not least, I saved this one for the very last question. What is this I'm hearing, this rumor about some type of underbody camera kit for Jeeps?
Dude, you're getting all the good information.
Oh, I know you weren't expecting this one. I know.
This is something we're going to really drop a bomb on our Connected on Friday. So this is our brand new system. It's called the let me see, make sure I get the part number correct. It's from our EchoMaster brand. So it's called the EM-UB underbody cam kit. All right. So what this is for like real hardcore off-roaders, right? Now, mind you, this is a universal application. It can be put in any type of vehicle, but we're showcasing it on a Jeep. And think about it. When Jeepers, when they're off wheeling trails, where in the mud, wherever they want to be, they like to see what they're getting ready to go over, what kind of obstacles are going over when they're going through ditches and mud and rocks, anything like that. We have this really unique camera system that attaches 4 cameras to your vehicle. You can mount them anywhere you want under your vehicle. Front, rear, left, right, pointing at your axles, pointing at your tires, wherever you'd like for them to go. So now you can see that footage as you're crawling over rocks, crawling through ravines, and crawling over stumps and whatever else they may be doing, rock crawling, whatever. But in the Jeep market, you know, off-road wheeling is very popular. So we're now giving them the ability to have that footage recorded to the DVR capabilities that's inside of the brain of the kit, and have a video output to go back into any monitor. Now, what's really neat about that, because people always want to show their video, Ben, it's all 4 cameras that come in the kit are AHD. So they're high quality video cameras, right? The box itself does have the ability to send out an HD signal if you have a screen that's HD capable.
Like a high 10?
Like a high 10 will be soon, but we have
Mhm.
universal standalone monitors as well that are HD capable. But
Okay.
also you can switch it over to CVBS or standard video resolution and record in HD as well. So
I can't
without
wait.
giving away
I
too
hope
much,
we
yeah,
get
Friday is
some.
going to be
I hope
really
we
neat
see
when
some
we show it.
visual of that. I'm curious about how wide angle the camera, all that type of stuff. But we'll save that for our show on Friday. Amp Global, all these great brands you mentioned: Pack, EchoMaster, Stinger, of course, distributed in Canada through 2 distributors, both Automobility as well as Gentech. That's who you want to call when you want some amp gear. And if you're in the US, contact Amp Global Direct, and they'll set you up with the closest distributor. Jeff Smith, I'll let you get back to work. Enjoy your show. Thanks for taking the time. And
Appreciate
we'll
being
look forward
on,
to our
Ben.
session on Friday, man. Take
All
care.
right, brother. We'll see you then.
There you have it, guys. That's a wrap on 6 of the brands that we brought on tonight that all specialize in this Jeep accessory and audio space. I want to thank each and every one of us that joined us tonight, whether it be Stinger or Alpine or Lumens HPL, JL Audio, Ray Sport, as well as MB Quart. And I want to remind you, though, that we are right in the middle of the Jeep sessions. So we continue tuning in each and every day to CMA Networks right through until Friday, April 29th is when it finishes. May 10th, I'm sorry. Tuesday, May 10th is when we stop. And that's when we go through all these great brands that you see on the poster and that came in today. I have to remind you, of course, check out our new website, cmanetworks.com. We put a lot of work into it, guys. Like, seriously, hundreds of videos, so many different collaborators. It doesn't matter if you're looking for your favorite content by category, by brand, or even your favorite trainer. Look it up, get your learn on, and know what is out there in the market so you can succeed. That's it. This has been an awesome one. I want to thank all the guests one more time. Jeep is where it's at. I hope this episode helps you understand that a little bit better. And then you can do your own research to find out what product and brand suits your shop best. This is CMA Live, presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.
Stop it. Yo, roll it down. I am.
You don't need a car to listen to SiriusXM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What? What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on SiriusXM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?